Hey, this is Tom. Let me turn this down. What you're looking at, oh yeah, this is Tom, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show. And what you're looking at this morning is a signal generator. And it also is a counter, frequency counter. Two-function little device here. It's made by, I hope I pronounced this correctly. It's not that important. Elinco. It was sent to me yesterday. I got it in the mail. And I was like, it came in a Home Depot box, a big Home Depot box. And I'm like, first reaction was, oh my gosh, was I on the Home Depot website and accidentally clicked on something and it's in this box and I don't even have any idea what it is? So that was my first reaction. I couldn't see the mailing label because one of our cats was sitting on top of the box. It's something about boxes that cats love. So I moved the cat, I looked at the mailing label, and then realized it was from a longtime friend of mine who lives across the bay in Tampa. And he had sent me an email a couple of weeks ago after he had commented on one of my YouTube videos. Now, I didn't even realize he even knew about my YouTube videos. Maybe I told him, maybe I forgot. We haven't communicated in a very long time. We had a mutual friend that passed away a couple years ago, and we kind of lost contact with each other since he wasn't there as the third party. And anyway, so he made a comment on this one show I did where I was testing, I think, an SDR, maybe a shortwave radio, and I was talking about, the reception testing. Well, he made a comment in that instead of trying to use an on-the-air signal to test these radios, which is, varies all over the place. Sometimes they're not even on the air. Atmospheric conditions can affect them, whatever. He said, use a signal generator. Well, I had mentioned that many shows ago that I should be using a signal generator, but my old antique signal generator, which wasn't that good when I first got it, was kaput. It's erratic. I'll put it that way. It's erratic. You tune on one band and it's working, and you tune to another band and it's like the signal just disappears. So I quit using it. So after he made that comment, I replied back, yep, you're right. I need a signal generator and I need an oscilloscope. My oscilloscope, which is a Tektronix oscilloscope, I think the power supply died because just one day I went to turn it on and it wouldn't come on. I checked the fuse was blown. I put a new fuse in, which is probably not the right thing to do, and it blew the new fuse, so I assume there was a short or something in the power supply, so it's been sitting. So he said that he had, in excess to his needs, a signal generator and a oscilloscope, but they both were non-operational and need to be fixed. So this came in just yesterday. He had gotten it fixed and he sent it to me. And last night I hooked it up and learned how to use it, and it's working great. And it gives you a nice digital readout. I don't know if, let me see if I can zoom in and show you a little closer here. Whoops, wrong way. Okay, so right now it's reading 10.3847 megahertz. That's the output. And over here is the frequency bands that you can select and then tune with this big knob here. It's a little touchy with tuning this big knob. It would be nice if it had a fine-tuning knob also. I read the manual 2 or 3 times to see if it did have something. I didn't find anything. It has a bunch of other options. You can have the output modulated either from a crystal that you can plug in here, or an internal modulation signal, or external modulation signal, and there's connectors on the back. Over here, I don't know if it'll show up on the camera. That cable right there is in the way. But over here is the function select mode, which is either init, which means it's transmitting, it's a signal generator, or VHF or UHF for using it as a counter. And then it has a couple other functions, like the output can be reduced by 20 dB. And so right now, just quickly set it up, and I've got it connected to one of my in-fed antennas outside. And then I've got my FiFi SDR running, and it's connected to my vertical antenna. And the noise you were hearing was the signal coming from this generator. And right now, it's drifted. I don't know which drifted, the frequency counter or the FiFi. Both of them I just turned on a few minutes ago. It's drifting a little bit, so let me turn the sound on so you can hear it. And I'll readjust it. Okay, that's about centered. So the tone you hear is the RF signal coming out of this generator. And I'll tell you what it's reading. This is reading 10.3843. The receiver, the SDR, is reading 10.383.73. So one of them is a little bit off. I suspect, let me turn the audio off. I suspect that it's the FiFi, because I've never done anything to calibrate this FiFi receiver. Like I say, they both were just turned on, so they're both warming up, and there'll probably be some drifting. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I see it's moved a little bit more since I just retuned it. So one or both are drifting a little bit. But we're way down into kilohertz of the frequency changing. So I really appreciate my friends sending me this. This will really help when checking out, for instance, reception quality of these radios. I'll call a standard signal that I can look at and find. That's the other thing that I struggle with when testing these radios across the band, is that depending on conditions, the time of day, the weather, there may not be signals in a certain portion of the band. Like, very seldom do I get anything up above 20 megahertz. It's just not there. Conditions can change, and it will be there, but it's just not there. So I've never been able to test any of these radios above 20 megahertz. Now I can dial this thing in and test it. It goes up to 150 megahertz. So the range is, I mean, look at the book here, and he has the original manual for it that he sent me. Okay, where are the specs? I thought they were in the back, but they're obviously not in the back. Here they are, middle of the book. Okay, this has A, B, C, D, E, F positions on the ranges. And it goes from, for a frequency generator, 100 kilohertz to 150 megahertz. And it will do up to 450 megahertz on the third harmonic. Now, the little signal generator that I had that started acting up, the whole thing was designed on harmonics. So it only went up to, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 megahertz, and everything else was harmonic of the lower frequencies. So it never was a very good generator. Nice looking, has big dials and everything, but functionally it just wasn't that good. It was mainly for, I would say, testing medium wave equipment, not VHF and UHF. The frequency counter function, which I'm not set up here to test that because I don't have any signal source easily. You know, I could use the, and I'm not sure what I could use, but anyway, it will count from 10 hertz to 10 megahertz on the HF setting and 10 megahertz to 150 megahertz on the VHF setting. So I think I'm in business here as far as having a frequency generator / counter, and just a nice compact. That's another thing about it, is my old one was about 3 times the size of this, and so there was no room on this side of my workshop to put it over here. Even if it worked, there was no room to put it, so I'd have to just bring it over temporarily, slap it, you know, in the middle of the desk, and use it that way. This thing, actually, I think the question is going to be is how deep it is, and I don't have a ruler right handy. I have one across the room, but don't have one. But I think it's the depth is not too much that it won't fit on under my shelf over there. Let me kind of swing around here. I think it'll fit under that shelf down there and be so I can leave it there. So that'll be cool. So anyway, I want to thank my friend for fixing this up and sending it to me. He's now got, I think by the same company, a little oscilloscope that he's trying to get working for me. And boy, I'll be in seventh heaven, and Christmas in August for me. Got some viable equipment here to do some real testing of these receivers. So anyway, that's the show for today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this show, please give me a thumbs up. Bye-bye.